They were the picture of suburban perfection. The McAllister family of Fairview, Oregon, two smiling parents, Claire and Daniel, three bright kids, honor roll and varsity soccer, a Labrador named Rusty, Christmas cards, barbecues, PTA meetings. They were the family everyone wanted to be. Until October 17, 2018. At exactly 7:14 p.m., Claire McAllister received a phone call. She answered, and within 60 seconds everything changed. The woman on the other end spoke only 10 words. He knows. Check the basement. Then call the police. Then silence. Call disconnected. No caller ID. Claire called her husband. No answer. She tried again. Voicemail. Then she went to the basement. She opened the door, turned on the light. What she saw made her collapse. Wrapped in tarp, hidden beneath insulation, a human jawbone, and a pair of skeletal hands, still wearing a wedding ring. Within an hour, the McAllister house was surrounded by flashing lights. Police, crime scene tape, forensics. Neighbors watched from their windows in disbelief. The perfect family was no longer perfect. Detective Laura Hensley led the case. Her first words on record, someone went to a lot of trouble to keep this buried, literally and figuratively. The remains were sent for analysis. Dental records matched a woman named Valerie Knox, missing since 2004. Reported by her mother, dismissed as a runaway. But that wasn't the twist. Valerie Knox was Daniel McAllister's first wife, a marriage few even knew existed. They'd married in 2002, divorced, Daniel claimed, in 2003. But no records of the divorce were ever filed. And Valerie? She was never seen again. Daniel had told Claire his first wife left him without a word. He moved on, built a new life, a new family. But Valerie never moved anywhere. She had been in the basement the entire time, for 14 years. Police found traces of concrete filler, spray foam, DIY repairs over the years. Someone had gone to great lengths to make sure no one would ever find her, and yet, someone did. But who made that call? No fingerprints, no voice match, just the chilling voice of a woman. Soft, calm, controlled, as if she knew exactly what she was doing. Daniel was arrested, charged with second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, improper disposal of human remains. In interrogation, he denied everything, said he had no idea how Valerie's body ended up in his home, claimed he was framed, that someone wanted to destroy him, but police found more, a journal, hidden behind a false drawer in his garage, pages torn. But one remained, and it read, "She wouldn't stop, she threatened everything. Now she's quiet." Claire filed for divorce the next day. She moved out with the children, and Daniel? He awaits trial to this day. But here's the mystery. Just 3 weeks after Daniel's arrest, Claire received another call. This time she didn't answer, but it went to voicemail. 10 seconds. Same voice. Same chilling calm. He wasn't the only one. The case remains open. Police traced the call to a burner phone purchased in Boise, Idaho. Surveillance footage shows a woman in a gray hoodie. No clear facial ID, no name, no follow-up, and then nothing. No more calls, no new evidence, only silence. Detective Hensley stated in the final transcript, "We may never know who made those calls, but someone out there knows what really happened to Valerie Knox. Was Daniel guilty, or was he just the first layer of a deeper truth? A perfect family." Until one phone call blew everything apart and left behind a trail of whispers that may never be silenced. The McAllister house became a magnet for speculation. As news vans lined the street and detectives combed the basement, the people of Fairview began to talk. Whispers spread across fences, over coffee cups, and in crowded grocery aisles. Everyone had something to say, but their stories didn't always match. A neighbor, Mrs. Tully, her voice trembling, told reporters, "I always thought they were the nicest family, but sometimes late at night I'd see Daniel out in the yard digging by the basement window, said it was for drainage, but who does that after midnight?" Across the street, Greg, a friend from Daniel's Sunday soccer league, shook his head. Dan was a solid guy, always joked around, but he never talked about his first marriage. If you asked, he just changed the subject. I figured it was painful, or maybe there was more to it. Then there was Emily, whose daughter played with the McAllister kids. Tearful, she recalled. Claire seemed on edge lately. Last month she asked if I'd ever heard strange noises from her basement. I thought she was just stressed. Now, I can't help but wonder what she was really hearing. But not everyone believed in Daniel's guilt. Old Mr. Vargas, 3 doors down, insisted, "That house was here long before the McAllisters moved in. Maybe someone else hid that poor woman. Maybe Daniel's just unlucky." Conflicting stories piled up. Some swore they saw a mysterious woman visiting the house while Daniel was at work. Others claimed to hear arguments, muffled but intense, drifting through the open windows on humid summer nights. And then the most chilling account, a teenage neighbor, eyes wide, confessed on social media, "I saw someone in the backyard the night before the police came, not Daniel, a woman. She was staring at the house. When she noticed me, she just vanished into the woods." The town of Fairview was no longer a quiet suburb. It was a stage for secrets, lies, and half-remembered truths. As suspicion grew, the line between friend and stranger blurred. The only certainty? Someone knew more than they were saying. And as the investigation pressed on, one thing became clear. Beneath Fairview's perfect lawns and white picket fences, darkness had roots that ran deeper than anyone ever imagined. Inside the Fairview Police Department, the sterile glow of fluorescent lights falls across a cluttered interview room. Here, the search for truth takes on a new urgency. The camera lingers on a battered tape recorder as a detective's voice cuts through the silence. Detective Harris, calm, methodical. "Mr. McAllister, can you walk us through your whereabouts on the night of June 12th? Daniel, shifting in chair. "I was at home, watching TV. My wife was upstairs putting the kids to bed." Detective Harris, leaning forward. "Neighbors say they saw you outside near the basement window after midnight." Daniel hesitates, voice tight. "I told them I was checking the drainage. It's an old house. We get flooding." Detective Harris, "Did you see anyone else? Hear anything unusual?" Daniel, avoiding eye contact. "No, nothing out of the ordinary." Detective Lynn, gentle, probing. "Claire, your friend Emily said you mentioned noises in the basement. What did you hear?" Claire, wringing hands, voice wavering. "It was scratching, sometimes a thump. I thought it was rats." Daniel said it was old pipes. Detective Lynn, "Did Daniel ever go down there at night?" Claire. "Sometimes. He said he was fixing things. He didn't like me asking questions." Greg, shrugs. "He was quiet lately, stressed. He never talked about his past. If you pushed, he'd just laugh it off." Detective Harris, "Did he ever mention anyone from his previous marriage?" Greg, "No, never, but sometimes he'd get these calls, step outside, come back looking upset." Montage of interview snippets. Mrs. Tully's trembling voice, Mr. Vargas's gruff denial, the teenage neighbor's wide-eyed stare. Each interview offers a piece of the puzzle, but the picture remains incomplete. Evasive answers, nervous glances, stories that almost fit together but never quite align. The truth, it seems, is always just out of reach, slipping between the words, hiding in the spaces between questions. As the investigation intensifies, the pressure mounts, and behind every closed door, another secret waits to be uncovered. In the dim confines of the Fairview Police Evidence Room, new discoveries send ripples through the investigation. Gloved hands lift a plastic bag containing a small tarnished locket, its surface etched with initials no one in the McAllister family can explain. Next, a stack of cryptic notes scrawled in hurried handwriting emerges from behind a false panel in the basement. The messages are fragmented. "Don't trust him," "Midnight again," and a single line that reads, "We're being watched." A forensic technician dusts a shattered picture frame for fingerprints. Under ultraviolet light, a smudge appears, distinct from any belonging to the family. The narration lingers as the technician compares this print to those of neighbors and known associates, and finds no match. Cut to a close-up of a muddy boot print, photographed at the edge of the McAllisters' backyard. The tread pattern is unusual, unlike any shoes found in the house. Investigators mark it, bagging a clump of dirt embedded with what looks like a fragment of blue fabric. The camera pans over a whiteboard in the detective's office, now crowded with photos of evidence, red string connecting timelines and names. Daniel, Claire, Greg, Emily, and now an ominous question mark labeled unknown. Each new clue deepens the uncertainty. Is the locket a forgotten heirloom or a message from someone outside the family? Who wrote the notes, and who were they warning? And whose fingerprint lingers on the broken glass? As the evidence piles up, suspicion spreads like wildfire. The answers remain elusive, casting longer, darker shadows over the McAllister mystery. As days turn to weeks, the Fairview police station grows quieter. Yet behind closed doors, the McAllister case refuses to rest. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's security camera is played back in slow motion. A shadowy figure lingers just beyond the streetlights at midnight, face obscured by the brim of a hat. The timestamp matches the night the family vanished. Investigators pause the footage, zooming in, but the figure dissolves into a blur, as if aware of being watched. Cut to a montage, the locket spinning slowly under a forensic lamp, the blue fabric fragment sealed in an evidence bag, the cryptic notes pinned to a corkboard. A detective's hand hesitates over the question mark labeled unknown, drawing a second line beneath it. Just as hope for answers begins to fade, a new envelope arrives at the station, no return address. Inside, a single Polaroid, the McAllister family, smiling at a picnic, but something is off. In the background, half hidden by trees, stands the same shadowy figure from the surveillance tape, scribbled on the back. Not the first, not the last. The camera pans slowly across the detective's exhausted face, then lingers on the evidence board, where the question mark now dominates the center. Outside, the wind rattles a loose shutter as dusk falls over Fairview. The screen fades to black, leaving only the echo of unanswered questions and the chilling certainty that someone, somewhere is still watching. Who was the figure in the shadows? Why did the McAllisters disappear? And are they really gone? The truth remains just out of reach as the whispers of the vanished linger on. The case is far from closed. A week after the chilling Polaroid surfaced, the silence in Fairview is broken. New witnesses step forward, their voices trembling as they relive the night of the McAllisters' disappearance. First, a retired detective, Henry Collins, sits in a dimly lit room, his hands clasped tightly. "I worked cases like this for 30 years, he confides, eyes darting to the evidence board. But something about that shadow, it felt orchestrated, almost staged. My gut says the answer isn't in the obvious, but in what we're all missing." Cut to a faded photograph of Valerie McAllister at a school event, then to her childhood friend Julia. Her voice cracks. "Valerie called me that night. She sounded scared, said someone was watching the house. She begged me to come over, but I thought she was just anxious. I'll never forgive myself for not going." The screen flickers to black and white reenactment. A shadow flits past a window, Julia's imagined regret painted across her face. Finally, a new enigmatic voice. The camera lingers on the silhouette of a neighbor, face cloaked in shadow. "I saw someone outside the McAllisters' place," they whisper. "But it wasn't the man in the hat. This person moved differently, like they belonged there. I heard a low whistle, then nothing." Next morning the house was empty. As each testimony unfolds, the evidence board grows crowded with clashing accounts and red string crisscrosses. The truth, once seemingly within reach, now feels more elusive than ever. In the uneasy quiet that follows, one thing is clear: every answer only deepens the mystery, and the shadows around the McAllister case grow darker with every new voice. As the investigation staggers forward, a bombshell shakes Fairview once more. Police release previously sealed transcripts from the night the McAllisters vanished, documents long kept from public view. What follows is a glimpse into the raw, tense exchanges that unfolded behind closed doors. Daniel sits rigid, hands fidgeting. Claire, eyes red-rimmed, leans away from the table. Detectives shuffle papers under harsh fluorescent lights. Detective Ramirez questioning Daniel. "You said you were at the diner until midnight, Daniel, but your receipt shows 10:41 p.m. Where did you go after that?" I drove around, needed to clear my head, I lost track of time." Daniel's alibi unravels under scrutiny. His answers falter, timelines blur. "You didn't return Claire's calls, why?" "My phone died, I didn't think—" "You charged it at the diner, we checked." Frustration mounts. The detective's voices grow sharper. Claire's suspicion flickers to life. "He never came home that night. When I asked, he just stared at me, like he was somewhere else. I can't explain it, he's hiding something, I know it." The detectives sense the same. Their notes, now public, reveal doubts and dead ends. Detectives reviewing files, red pens circling inconsistencies, tense glances exchanged. "We're missing something. He's not telling us everything, neither is she." Each released log, each transcripted line exposes new fractures in the McAllister story. The truth slips further away, buried beneath mounting suspicion, tangled lies, and the relentless pursuit of answers. As the evidence piles up, so do the questions. In the harsh light of the interrogation rooms, the shadows only deepen. The investigation, once clouded by confusion, now surges forward on a wave of shocking forensic breakthroughs. In a sterile lab, gloved hands carefully unfold a blood-stained scarf, its faded pattern unmistakably belonging to Valerie McAllister. The crimson smears tell a silent, chilling story, but whose blood is it? Cut to a macro shot, a tiny, nearly invisible camera lens, recently retrieved from the McAllisters' living room clock. For months, it's silently watched, recording countless hours of the family's private life. Detectives huddle around the playback, eyes widening at the grainy footage. Footsteps in the night, shadowy figures, whispered arguments. Then, the digital glow of Valerie's old laptop. Forensic specialists work feverishly, lines of encrypted code racing across the screen. Hidden deep within her files, investigators uncover a series of cryptic messages, fragments of conversations with unknown contacts. threats disguised as friendly notes, and one final desperate plea for help. Each clue points in a different direction, tearing open new theories and implicating faces previously thought innocent. The blood-stained scarf suggests violence close to home, the hidden camera hints at someone who needed to watch, someone who needed control, and the encrypted messages, they introduce new suspects, new motives, and a darkness nobody saw coming. Detectives exchange grim looks as the evidence piles up. The boundaries between victim and suspect blur, and the truth feels more elusive than ever. In the forensic glare, every answer only leads to more questions, and the shadows around the McAllister mystery grow deeper still. The tangled web of clues finally tightens, in a flurry of flashbacks, footsteps echoing in empty hallways, whispered late-night phone calls, and the chilling playback from the hidden camera. The detectives reconstruct the fateful timeline. Each piece snaps into place, revealing the truth behind the McAllister family's torment. The mysterious caller's identity is unveiled, not a stranger but someone intimately tied to the family's history, a former confidant, driven by jealousy and long-held resentment. Their motive, pieced together from Valerie's encrypted pleas, emerges in stark relief, a desperate bid for control, vengeance for a betrayal that shattered their world. In the sterile light of the interrogation room, Claire confronts the unmasked culprit. Her voice trembles, anger and grief colliding as years of suspicion and pain spill out. Beside her, Daniel struggles to hold back tears, his own secrets exposed, his guilt laid bare. The surviving family members gather, fractured but united by the need for answers. Accusations fly, apologies are whispered, and the weight of truth settles heavy on every heart. Cut to the courtroom. The verdict is delivered. Justice at last is served. The camera lingers on each face, exhausted, relieved, forever changed. In a final montage, we see the aftermath. Claire visiting Valerie's grave, Daniel working to rebuild broken trust, neighbors moving on from the shadow that haunted their street. The McAllister mystery, once a labyrinth of lies, finds its resolution. The scars remain, but the whispers have finally faded. As the credits roll, the story closes, not with vengeance, but with the hard-won peace that only the truth can bring. As the sun sets over Fairview, its golden light spills across quiet streets and neatly trimmed lawns. The shadows that once haunted the town have receded, leaving behind a fragile peace. In the aftermath of truth, the community gathers, neighbors exchanging knowing glances, children's laughter returning to the parks, and the McAllister home standing as a silent testament to all that was lost and found. Inside, Claire and her children share a quiet breakfast, their conversations tentative but sincere. Each day brings small steps toward healing, a shared smile, a hand held a little tighter. The scars of the past linger, but hope flickers in the gentle moments of togetherness. Elsewhere, detectives box up files, their faces marked by the weight of what they've uncovered and the solace of a case finally closed. Life in Fairview finds its rhythm again, forever altered, yet determined to move forward. The streets that once echoed with rumors and suspicion now cradle a community learning to trust once more. In the end, the McAllister mystery is more than a tale of secrets and betrayal. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Justice has been served, but true closure lies in the courage to face the truth and the grace to begin anew. As dusk settles, the camera pans across the town, bathed in the soft glow of hope. Some wounds may never fully heal, but in the quiet after the storm, Fairview remembers that even the deepest scars can be touched by light. Just as Fairview dares to breathe again, a new thread unravels the calm. Hidden beneath a loose floorboard in the McAllister children's bedroom, a small, tattered diary is discovered. Its cover worn, its pages trembling with secrets. The camera lingers on close-ups of the child's shaky handwriting entries filled with secret fears, strange late-night noises echoing through the hallways, and cryptic warnings hastily scrawled in the margins. The diary's words flicker on screen, illuminated by the beam of a trembling flashlight. "Something is watching," one page whispers. "Don't go near the attic after midnight," another warns, the ink smudged as if written in haste. Each entry pulses with dread, offering chilling glimpses into the unseen terrors that haunted the child's nights. As the family gathers around the fragile notebook, their faces are cast in shadow eyes, wide with disbelief and fear. Questions surge anew. Was there more to the McAllister mystery than anyone realized? The camera drifts through the darkened corners of the house, lingering on doors left ajar and windows rattling in the wind. The child's anxious face, bathed in the pale glow of a flashlight, pleads silently for understanding. This new evidence deepens the mystery, hinting at forces beyond reason and reopening wounds the family thought had begun to heal. In the silence that follows, the town holds its breath, once more haunted not just by the past, but by the chilling possibility that some secrets still linger in the shadows, waiting to be found. In the sleepless hours after the diary's discovery, Detective Hensley finds herself drawn back to the McAllister case over and over, as if by a force she can't name. The evidence room becomes her refuge, but also her prison. Flickering lights overhead cast her shadow against the walls, stretching and warping with every anxious movement. Fragments of case files flutter across the table, their words twisting into whispers only she can hear. Hensley's hands tremble as she pores over the diary, the child's warnings echoing in her mind, growing louder with every passing night. The line between waking and dreaming blurs. She jolts awake at her desk, drenched in cold sweat, haunted by visions of the McAllister family faces pressed to foggy windows, mouths moving in silent pleas. Hallways in her dreams stretch endlessly. Doors multiply and slam shut, mirrors ripple with images that aren't her own. Reality fractures. Hensley glimpses movement in the periphery, the fleeting shadow of a child, the glint of an eye in a darkened corner. In the dead of night she stands alone in the evidence room, its fluorescent lights flickering, casting her reflection in the glass, distorted and unfamiliar. Her voice, barely a whisper, cracks the silence. What did I miss? But the only answer is the relentless ticking of the clock and the suffocating weight of secrets she cannot unravel. The camera lingers on her exhausted face, eyes wide and haunted as the boundaries between the case and her own sanity dissolve. Has she uncovered the truth, or has the darkness of the McAllister mystery claimed another victim? As the screen fades to black, the echo of a child's laughter drifts through the static, leaving the question suspended in the night air. How far will obsession blur the line between truth and madness? As Fairview struggles to shake the grip of the McAllister mystery, a new presence enters the scene, a stranger, face obscured beneath the brim of a weathered hat, coat collar pulled high against the chill. He arrives without warning, walking the rain-slicked streets as dusk settles, his silhouette slipping between pools of flickering lamplight. Word spreads quickly. In the tight-knit town, every unfamiliar face is an intrusion, and this one brings an air of foreboding that no one can ignore. At the diner, conversations falter as he passes. Blinds are drawn tighter. Children are ushered indoors. In the town hall, anxious residents gather for an emergency meeting. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Who is he? What does he want? The mayor's voice trembles as she addresses the uneasy assembly, but the stranger's arrival hangs over every word, thickening the tension in the air. Later, in the corner of a dimly lit room, the stranger speaks to a small knot of townsfolk, his voice low and unsettling. You think you know what happened to the McAllisters, he says, but you've only seen the surface. The truth runs deeper, much deeper. His eyes, cold and unblinking, scan the room, making everyone shrink back. Cryptic warnings spill from his lips, hinting at secrets buried beneath Fairview's quiet facade. Fear takes root. Neighbors eye each other with suspicion. Old alliances crack under the pressure of uncertainty. In the shadows, the stranger watches, a silent catalyst stirring up old ghosts and new doubts, and as night falls, his presence lingers in every whispered conversation, every darkened window, a reminder that the McAllister case is far from over, and that sometimes the most terrifying mysteries arrive on 2 feet, cloaked in secrets and shadow. Years have passed since the McAllister family vanished, but their empty home still looms over Fairview like a wound that refuses to heal. Now abandoned, the house is a magnet for rumors and restless imaginations. Some say lights flicker behind boarded windows at midnight. Others claim to hear muffled voices drifting up from the basement, echoes of the past, or something far more sinister. Tonight, a small group of teenagers gathers outside the sagging porch, daring each other to cross the threshold. Their flashlights slice through the darkness, casting trembling shadows on peeling wallpaper, and walls tagged with graffiti, the desperate marks of those who came before and fled in fright. Inside, the air is thick with dust and dread. Every creak of the floorboards, every sigh of the wind through broken glass amplifies their unease. In the living room, a faded family photo lies shattered on the floor, its smiling faces now distorted by time and fear. One of the teens swears they see a shadow flicker at the top of the staircase, gone in a blink, but enough to send shivers down every spine. As they descend into the basement, their lights sweep over strange symbols scrawled on the walls. A faint, chilling whisper seems to echo through the darkness, impossible to pin down. Suddenly, One flashlight beam catches a scrap of fabric caught on a nail, old, stained, and eerily familiar from the missing persons posters of years past. Panic rises. The teens stumble back, hearts pounding, but as they turn to flee, a cold gust slams the basement door shut. In the suffocating silence, a voice, soft, almost pleading, echoes from the shadows. "Help us!" The group finally bursts free into the night, breathless and shaken, leaving behind more questions than answers. And as the abandoned house settles back into darkness, a single light flickers on in an upstairs window, as if the McAllister mystery is waiting, watching, for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. As the truth finally comes to light, Fairview awakens from years of uncertainty. The McAllister house, once shrouded in mystery, now glows with the warmth of a new day. Neighbors gather on front lawns, sharing smiles and stories. The air is filled with laughter as children play, their voices echoing hope and renewal. The McAllister family, once fractured by secrets, embraces in the golden light. Forgiveness and understanding pass between them, their bonds stronger than ever. Detectives close the final case files, exchanging relieved glances. Their work is done, and peace settles over the town at last. As the sun rises over Fairview, families gather for breakfast, friends greet each other, and life moves forward with gentle optimism. The McAllister mystery becomes a memory, one that taught Fairview the power of truth, the strength of forgiveness, and the resilience of the human spirit. In the end, Fairview stands united, its scars fading, its hope renewed. The story closes not with fear, but with the promise of brighter days ahead.